Dunkirk is a film directed by Christopher Nolan, stars Harry Styles, Tom Hardy, Cillian Murphy, Mark Rylance, and it's based on the real-life events where Germany advanced into France and pushed back a whole unit, or whatever you would call it, like 400,000 men, pushed them back onto the beaches of Dunkirk, and they had a very small window that they were allowed to evacuate. There's only one problem: all the ships, like the major warships that came to evacuate the men, kept getting bombed really easily. So about 700 boats came to the rescue and tried to evacuate these 400,000 men off the beaches of Dunkirk while they were basically sitting ducks. Where to even start with this movie? I mean, it's Christopher Nolan. The directing was great, the practical effects was great. The CGI, there was no points in the movie where I looked at something and I was like, oh, that's CGI, that's pretty up. It was pretty seamless and flawless. The soundtrack was amazing. My screening was actually in IMAX, so I got the full range of sound and scope from the beautiful screen, and man, this movie just looked phenomenal. Dunkirk is different in that it's not the same style narratively as a lot of other war movies, where you're on the journey with a specific group of characters and you get to know them, and there's a lot of character development. I think Christopher Nolan was going for the event of Dunkirk and to highlight the actual event rather than focusing on developing certain characters. I want to preface this by saying that I had a really good time with this movie, and it is ranked really high for me, and I'll get to that in a second. There's really only two flaws with this movie that I personally felt. The first is almost a compliment in a way, but it might have just been the theater I was in. I'm not exactly sure, but a lot of the times the music would swell up or you'd hear a bomber coming in, which sounded amazing, but there is very, very little dialogue between characters in this movie. It's very visual storytelling, and when you do get those character moments, they have really thick accents, and I think that I could benefit from rewatching this movie with subtitles, in all honesty, because they were talking really quietly, and they have a really thick accent, so it was hard to hear them to begin with. Pair that with a really loud bomber coming into the vicinity, or the score swelling up. It made it very hard to understand a lot of the characters for me. Maybe is where I was sitting, I don't know, but it makes me actually excited to revisit this movie when it comes out on Blu-ray and actually watch it with subtitles, because I think I missed a lot of that experience in the dialogue, the little dialogue that we actually did get. And the second negative, I wouldn't even call it really a negative, because I think it was what Christopher Nolan was going for. There is a few characters we stick with throughout this movie, but like I said before, it is really, the whole movie is about this one battle. There's not flashback scenes, there's not a lot of dialogue between characters. So I felt like the movie asked for us to care about these characters in the very end. Not to give spoilers away, but there is moments in this movie where the film expects you to have feelings and care about the fate of these certain characters that we're following. I just didn't feel that emotional connection with the characters. They were cool and whatnot, but it's like they hadn't done anything really to develop them as characters. They were just kind of there, even though we were kind of following them throughout the battle. But this whole battle lasts like a day, 2 days, maybe 3. And, the movie is very concise and to the point. There's a lot of great action, but I felt like when the movie asked for us to have those dramatic, heart-wrenching moments and actually care and feel for these characters, I didn't feel that direct connection. Having said that, character development is not what I think Nolan was focusing on. I think Nolan was relying on us caring about the characters solely based on the fact that they were human, and that he was more focused on the scope of the battle itself, which is very interesting and a different take on things, which I actually enjoyed. So having said that, you guys can probably tell my throat is killing me, so I'm just gonna go ahead with the rating here. It is a very, very beautiful movie. I had a great time, and I'm glad that I got the opportunity to see it a little early. Yeah, so all in all, I'm gonna give Dunkirk a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And I will definitely be picking it up on Blu-ray. I think it is worth the second revisit, and I want to know what a lot of those characters are saying, because I am deaf or the theater was really loud. Make sure to like this video if you liked it, subscribe below to keep up to date with everything I have going on, and I will see you guys in the next video.